Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts, the podcast you can listen to as you fall asleep at night as a talisman to keep the evil spirits away. I'm your haunted host, Jennifer, a professional medium, tarot reader, and a collector of all the spooky ghost stories I can find. And since I mentioned sleeping, I have found for you tonight, dear guest, a few unsettling stories that will make you hide under the covers a bit. But don't worry, I'll be right there with you. In truth, I have a personal story of my own of a ghost that acted like a bit of a paranormal alarm clock. Then later, it's séance time with a message from the spirits that can be welcomed in a more friendly manner. Join me around the table while I call a spirit close that is connected to someone listening to the podcast. And since you're here, the session could be for you. But before that, if you have ever been curious about a full spirit reading, I have a new in-studio medium session to share with you with my latest podcast guest. I absolutely love sharing my experiences as a medium with you, and I love the connections and the conversations that a session can bring. But first, let's bring on the chills. The ghosts are ready to tuck you in right now. My mother has often been antagonized by evil spirits throughout her life and has seen a few ghosts. For example, she had seen a full-bodied, non-translucent apparition walking up our stairs. She has also told me stories about how she had been attacked by spirits too. This event happened to my mom and my brother about 3 or 4 years ago. My little brother's bedroom is at the end of the hallway on the main floor of the home. He woke up in the middle of the night and had to use the bathroom. He exited his bedroom and started walking down the hallway to the bathroom. He had to pass by my parents' bedroom, and as he walked by, he glanced into my parents' room and noticed a tall, dark shadow of a man standing at the foot of their bed near my sleeping mother. This figure was staring down at her, motionless. Whatever this thing was, it was not disturbed by my brother's presence. My brother finished his bathroom business and hurriedly went back to his room and jumped back into bed and went to sleep. In the morning, he related to my mom what he had seen, and she said that she was awakened by an evil presence during the night, but being accustomed to these kind of things, she had nonchalantly went back to sleep without letting it worry her. I don't know why this happens, and I can't imagine reacting the way my mother is able to. A few years ago, I was stationed in Okinawa. I lived off base at the top level of a 2-story house near the ocean. There are a few little things that occurred, and I still don't know what to make of them. But what I'm about to tell you is really still a mystery to me. I can't shake the experience I had, and sometimes I doubt my sanity about it. One night, for no reason, I woke up to see a man dressed in military garb lying between my husband and myself. I'm not exactly sure, but he seemed to be wearing a US World War II era military uniform. When I woke and opened my eyes, I was looking right at him, as if it was natural for me to do so. He was lying comfortably snug between us, with his feet crossed and his hands resting across his stomach in a very relaxed manner. He was half sitting up, somewhat lying back against the headboard. As a whole, he was whitish gray in color and solid. The most odd thing was, he was looking down at me with these dark eyes. His eyes were kind and warm, and he was somewhat handsome. As he stared at me and I stared at him, he looked kind of scared. It's like he was resting and I had woken him up, and he didn't know what to think of this. He stared at me for the longest time. He never blinked his eyes, just kept looking back at me. I stayed in the same position, but I moved to raise my head to look at him, and I blinked my eyes over and over. Every time I opened them, I saw his eyes still staring at me. I was telling myself I was dreaming, and this vision would go away any moment now. After about a minute long of this vision, this man, slowly disappeared, and the headboard behind him became more and more visible. I then told myself it must have been a dream. It was the only way my brain could cope, and eventually I did fall back asleep, for real. I don't understand what I saw. Nothing like this has ever happened before or since. This happened to me a few years ago. It was around 11:30 at night, and I couldn't fall asleep, so I got up to use the bathroom, and then I got back into my bed. So keep in mind, I was fully awake. I remember getting up and then returning to bed. The moment I lied down on my back, I felt as if I had tumbled out of this world. I couldn't move, breathe, or speak. My jaw was locked as I tried to scream. In my left ear was a horrible roaring, like some creature was continuously growling next to me. In my mind, I saw myself dancing with a man in clothes from another century, as was I in my dress. Then that image faded, and I saw an ancient cathedral with tolling bells in the distance. I couldn't tell where I was. I didn't recognize anything. Eventually, I was able to open my eyes. It was as if my body had been released. I looked around my bedroom, and to my horror, at the foot of my bed was a shadow. The shadow was thick and black. Its body seemingly had no shape, yet it had a defined head, large dark eyes of obsidian, and a leering grin. He just stood there. I closed my eyes for a brief second, but when I opened them again, he was gone. I looked at the clock. It was well past midnight. Over a half an hour had passed, yet it felt like seconds. I was so scared. I could only lie there under the covers, not daring to look back at the foot of my bed. I don't know what he was, or why I've experienced sleep paralysis and the strange visions. I've researched the topic many times since then, with no real answers. Over the years, there have been strange events in my house, like my TV turning itself on, lights flickering, strange noises from outside, and seeing people out of the corner of my eye. I have not been too bothered because it felt like whatever was causing this was quite harmless until last week. I have recently changed jobs and have an unusual sleeping pattern, and to not disturb my husband, some nights I'll sleep in our spare bedroom. There is definitely something different about this room. The temperature can suddenly drop, and the room itself seems to have an eerie vibe. I have 2 cockatiels in this room, and quite often in the early hours, they will get spooked and start flapping about. When I sleep in there, I keep a dim lamp on because I'm too afraid to sleep in there in complete darkness. And I wear an eye mask. Last week, I went to sleep in the spare bedroom with my eye mask on and the dim light. I was on my back and just drifting off to sleep, when feelings of anxiety washed over me. I snapped out of my light sleep. I opened my eyes and could just see a small part of the room through the gap in the bottom part of my eye mask. And to my side, I made eye contact with a woman as she stood over me. Before I could think, she instantly rushed towards me, grabbed my throat and tried to strangle me through the bed covers. I couldn't move. I sensed nothing but pure hatred from this being before she suddenly vanished. It was over quite quickly, and it had been terrifying. In the past, I've experienced sleep paralysis, and I have been attacked by shadow people. And in those experiences, I didn't realize I was asleep. Could this have been another episode? I told my sister about it, and she insists that this was different, and that it was a ghost and not sleep paralysis. It's true, this person was not a shadow like the other events. I'm still not sure what to think, but I have moved my birds, and I will never sleep in that room again. Are you enjoying your ghostly visit? If so, please follow, like, comment, and share. The ghosts may be talkative, but they are lousy at marketing, so every click helps. Tell your friends, and please leave a kind review so that others might join us. The spirits and I thank you. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. My guest this evening is Holley. Holley, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing tonight?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I love your bubbly energy already.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to know you, and it's wonderful to meet you.
I'm very excited for this. I've been waiting a long time for this
Excellent.
opportunity.
Oh, oh, that's great. That's so great. First off, I was getting a rather powerful message to come through for you saying, yes, I'm here.
Wow.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, big time.
It almost feels like someone's floating around you.
Yes.
And hanging around. Like, you got a spirit guide, guardian angel?
I have been calling for this certain person to come through for ever since I booked this, this little session together. So yes, it absolutely does.
Okay. Do you want to explain who this person is?
Yeah. If it's a male energy, my boyfriend passed away last year. Okay. So it's hopefully him.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's coming through as if it's like, have you been asking, like, are you here? Are you here? Because it's the first thing that's coming in with him. There's obviously a lot of love there, but he's like, yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Absolutely. I'm screaming for him.
Oh,
yes.
Well, know that he's here for you. He's absolutely here for you. Okay?
I always know he has been. That's for sure.
Okay.
He's been my guardian since, my angel since day one. So, yes.
Oh. I'm hearing a lot of music. Is music a big thing for you guys?
We used to sing in everywhere we went. We had a record player and we used to just sing and dance in the kitchen together or really anywhere we went. Yeah, music was huge for us.
Okay. Yeah. Because that's another thing that's just strikingly coming through. Was he a witty guy? Creative mind?
He was the most creative person I have ever met in my life. He was a chef, and he could think of things on such a whim. He would pair things together that I never thought would go together, and it was the most amazing thing I've ever had in my life.
Oh, yeah. And he keeps bringing up a celebration. Is there something going on right now, or?
It was his 1 year passing on the 16th. That we just celebrated, so it could be that.
Like, he keeps bringing up this celebration, and then he's also bringing up, like, there's a slight message in there of don't hold back. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I've been terrified of moving on without him, and so it's been a little bit tricky, but I'm slowly trying to find my feet and to move on. So I this last year I've been holding myself back a lot.
Yeah. He doesn't want to block you.
I know.
And he's like, oh, he's like, baby, I want you to live your best life.
I know. Yeah, I absolutely agree.
And just because he's here for you doesn't mean, he's like, doesn't want to watch you date or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like he's nothing but encouragement and love for you.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. And deep down, I knew that, but it's the reality. I know he would never want me to pause my life for him. He was he was larger than life, and it's just, he wouldn't want that for me.
He's so enthusiastic. He's almost like, I'm going to look out for you, and I'm going to put good people in your path, and I'm, and listen to your heart, and he's going to kind of help you through this a bit as you go, right?
Yes.
Did you guys drive around a lot?
All the time. We always, his parents lived out of town, and we would always go on road trips together. Yeah.
The car and the music and the back, like this was a joyful thing that you two did together.
Yeah, no, we would, sing our bloody hearts out the entire 2-hour drive. We also did a lot of camping together. That was huge for us. We just, anything we could do to explore the outdoors, we would go for it.
Okay. I don't know if this is connected to him or not, but I was seeing an interior of a car. It was a darker interior. It was like black. It was black interior. Is that his car?
My car.
Your car.
He didn't drive, so I was always driving.
Okay. All right, because I'm seeing the dark interior, and then there's talk of the inside can get really hot.
Yeah. I did not have air conditioning.
Okay. Yeah, it's like, oh, there's almost this sense of dread of getting in the oven,
Yeah.
like, so there was that aspect of it.
Yes.
That's just delightful.
I love
it. He's definitely here for you.
Oh.
And that's really sweet. Is there someone in your family who's really big into cars though?
Yes, that's my uncle that just recently passed.
Okay, because he's like, wait now, cars are important. And you said your boyfriend didn't drive. So it's like, who's this coming in?
That would probably be my Uncle Billy.
Okay. Yeah, because was he very mechanical? Like,
it's all he did. He lived, breathed cars.
Okay, well, that would make sense. Like, I could see it in the spirit world where someone's like, someone talking about cars? Wait, yeah. I'm coming in.
Yeah, that's Uncle Billy.
Did he like muscle cars or?
Yes, we are a massive Mopar collector family. Like, I mean, I'm named after Holley carburetor, so it's in my blood.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's really, no wonder he's bringing it up. Okay, so there is a big car thing in your family. Okay. This probably pertains to your boyfriend. He was talking about expressing regret about leaving.
Yes.
And that was one of the things that I was kind of going to bring up first, but then I got distracted by all the loveliness. But he was saying, yes, I'm here with you, and I'm sorry that it happened the way it did.
That makes so much sense. He did, it was a freak accident. He did drink a lot, and he was drinking one night and he went for a shower, and it was in a bathtub, and his foot covered the drain and it filled up and he drowned. So it was always one of those things that we told him, if this keeps happening, you could potentially pass from it, and that's it happened.
Yeah. There was this sense of a poor decision.
Yes.
And it's tormenting, for those involved. And so that makes a lot of sense to me. And I'm so sorry that you lost him, but know that he is still with you. He absolutely is.
I see him all the time. He always comes to visit. I haven't seen him in a few months, but I just know he's here.
Have you ever had a dream about him?
Hundreds.
Okay.
Hundreds.
Because I think he's bringing that up. That it's like, don't forget about the dreams. So it's not just waking life. It's when you're asleep too. And he wants to pour so much love and just encouragement to you, and know that he is there for you, but in the most supportive manner possible. Let me see. Oh, this is a weird random one. Powerpuff Girls? Did you ever watch Powerpuff Girls when you were younger? Like, someone was showing me this.
When I was younger, like way younger, yes.
Okay. Because someone was showing me parts of your childhood, and the Powerpuff Girls came up, and I was going to ask you if loud music bothered you when you were younger, because it's funny now that you love loud music so much now.
Yeah, I actually work in a nightclub, so yes.
I was also getting some older grandparent kind of energy coming through. Have some of your grandparents passed?
I've lost both grandparents on my dad's side.
On your dad's side. Did he do canning? Do you know if they did any canning?
Yeah, we still do.
Okay, because he was bringing up canning, and I'm like, and at first I took that as you worked in a canning factory. And he's like, no. And like, as we were talking now, he's like, no, we do canning.
Yes. Yeah. We pickle anything you can imagine with their recipes.
Excellent. All right.
Oh.
Yay. Okay. You've got some sharp people in your family, intelligent people.
Absolutely.
And he's kind of bragging about that a little bit. And he's like, she's smart, they're smart, everyone's smart. His message is that it's like you could do anything you set your mind to, because your mind can handle it.
Yeah.
you know, and never doubt that. Just never doubt that.
It still sounds like him for sure.
That's so sweet. Did you know your grandmother very well?
Yes.
She seems like a very straightforward personality.
Very much so.
Like, tell it like it is.
Oh, big time. It runs in the family.
Because she's coming through too. And it's like, oh my gosh, Holley, if you could bottle this sass, you know, can this sass, you pickle this and sell it. You know, if you could sell confidence in a bottle, I think
she was a powerhouse, to say the least.
Wow, force of nature.
Oh, 100%.
I love that. Is there anything you wanted to ask me that we didn't cover?
The main person I wanted to hear from was Sebastian, which was my boyfriend. So that is just a huge relief. You can tell him I'm mad at him, but I forgive him. Please.
Oh, he's like, I know.
Oh yeah, big time.
He's like, I know.
Oh yeah. So that took a while, but we love him and we miss him, and you know, he's always here, right? So
did he have like really kind eyes?
He had the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen in my life.
Like puppy dog eyes.
100%. He could,
because he's like giving me that look to give to you that just like, you know,
big time.
When you said you were mad at him, he was like, give her that look.
No.
She'll just melt.
It's not going to work right now. Wow. Yeah. The most beautiful, like, blue eyes I've ever seen in my life, that's for sure.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Okay. I do have some messages for you.
Okay.
And he's saying, you know, that you don't need outside influences right now. Listen to your own heart and your wisdom. So I don't know if that's something that you're wrestling with a little bit right now, or you got a lot of people in your ear. Mm-hmm. But he's saying, oh my gosh, guide yourself. And he's just encouraging you to guide yourself with your heart and your mind. Okay. And says, crack your heart wide open and live your happiest life.
I'm getting back on that trail, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's really sweet. Given the context, you know, I wrote this down before we met and everything, and that's really, really moving. And I hope that resonates for you.
Oh, absolutely it does. Oh goodness, this is huge weight off my shoulders, big time. Especially coming from him, like I know what needs to be done, and I know exactly what he's saying, but just hearing it come from him, it just makes sense, you know. It clicks, and
it's just so clear, you know. It's loud and clear.
Yeah.
And he like cut past your grandparents, you know, throwing elbows to talk first.
Yeah, it's most definitely Sebastian.
Thank you so much for meeting with me today. You're just amazing. You're absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. It means the world to me.
Oh, I wanted to ask you if you had a ghost story.
I have 20 years of experiences.
Listener ghost story.
I've always been extremely sensitive to the paranormal and supernatural. And I lived with a ghost named Louise for 15 years.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
She passed away in my parents' house, and I knew nothing about her, never seen photos of her, never talked to the family, none of that. And just from the years of experience that I had with her, we finally had contact with the family after 12 years of living there, and everything that I, you know, reiterated to them was basically to a T. I saw a photo, because I almost have like third eye visions, almost like it's like I get flashes of something going by, or I'll just see something in my mind, and I would see a woman, tall woman in a long white robe, you know, dancing in the corner of the house, or, you know, she was very, very strong energy. So her thing was mirrors. I am petrified of mirrors because she would just sit there and stare at me. It's like, Louise, I'm trying to go to sleep. Stop staring.
Oh, wow.
So I have years and years of experience with the paranormal.
Would you like a free spirit reading with me and record your reading for the podcast? Sign up for your chance to be selected by visiting italktoghosts.com/guest. And as an added bonus, if you don't want to leave your reading up to chance, I'll let you in on a secret. There's a discount offer to book a private session with me, so you can book a date and time for certain. Visit italktoghosts.com/guest for more details. I can't wait to meet you. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. Thank you for joining me this evening around the séance table for a message from the spirits. This evening I have my candles and crystals with me. The crystals that I've chosen are some black tourmaline for energy protection, as well as some lapis lazuli and some labradorite, which are both very lovely to work with their frequencies when doing spirit work. And with this, I love to ground and center and create an open, welcoming space for spirit to come close this evening. I have with me tonight someone's husband who has passed. He's showing me that he was very much into nature. He had a wonderful garden and he created a landscaping business for himself. Just always loved growing plants and communing with nature and being part of that life cycle. I feel like this was his spirituality for him. And he's telling me that he shows you signs through flowers and plants that when you encounter certain flowers or petals or if there's a certain situation which a plant reminds you of him, in a way he's kind of putting that in your path. So believe it. It's his way of showing you that he loves you. And his message for you this evening is that he really wants to encourage you to follow that calling that you're feeling for your own spirituality right now. It could be a very quiet, private journey, but when we feel the need to explore it, we should honor that. Let it take you in any direction that feels right in your heart. Who knows, maybe it's crystal work, and that's why I was encouraged to work with crystals tonight. I think I'm going to leave it at that. If this message connects for you and you absolutely understand the details that I'm talking about, I would love to know. Thank you. Book a medium reading with me. If you have a past loved one you would like to connect with, a spirit reading can be an amazing and never spooky experience. I strive to give you specific details that align only to you and your loved ones. Curious? Visit italktoghosts.com for links to book with me. I can't wait to meet you. Welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. I have my own personal ghost story experience to share with you this evening from when I lived in an apartment in Evanston, Illinois. Now, this is a haunted apartment that I've mentioned a few times on the podcast now. And this particular story takes place in an early morning hour where I happened to be home alone because my partner was out of town. I was sleeping in bed. I was laying on my stomach and I wasn't facing the room. I was facing the wall. So if you can imagine, I'm laying there on my pillow, right shoulder kind of exposed to the room, and I wake up to this tapping on my shoulder as if someone was trying to wake me up. And of course it did. I wake up still feeling the tapping. So I raise my head, still feeling the tapping, turn, and as I look, the tapping stopped. No one was in the room with me. No one was in the apartment with me. And at this point, I was a little bit used to the space being haunted with some activity. So I just looked around the room, shrugged, and laid back down and went to sleep. So that's my little paranormal alarm clock story. Not quite sure what the ghost wanted. They never did it again, but it was a spooky experience nonetheless. And with that, dear listener, we reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you've enjoyed these spooky, sleepy bedroom ghost stories that I've shared with you this evening. Do you have a ghost story similar of your own? I would love to hear it. In the meantime, wherever you wander off to in this world or the next, just remember, come back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening and good night.